I'm Scott Bourne. I'm currently the president of the Ellis County Farm Bureau, and I farm about 4,000 acres, and we grow wheat, corn, cotton, sometimes some soybeans, sometimes some milo, and sometimes some sunflowers. And so today we're looking at the tail end of our cotton harvest. Going to show you kind of what goes on with cotton harvest and talk about cotton a little bit. We plant the cotton in April, and it comes up and has some vegetative growth period, and eventually it starts, in the cotton world we call it starts squaring. And so the square is just a tiny little bud, and so we try to protect those squares because insects are really after them when they're small. The bud will grow, and so the cotton plant fruits from the bottom up. So you'll have squares that start when it's really pretty short, and those will be the bolls at the bottom. And as the plant grows, it just keeps adding squares, and so then the square, it's a bud, and so it grows into a bigger bud. They call it, that they gauge the size of all the squares. So you start out with a pinhead square because it's the size of a pinhead, you can hardly see it, and it might go to match head square, and then they call it 1/3 grown, and that's when it looks like it's fixing to bloom. And then it will bloom, and beneath the bloom there'll be a tiny little, just the size of a pea really, a little bowl. The bloom will fall off and the bowl will be there, and then the bowl will just grow and develop, and the fibers, the seed is in the bowl, and so the fibers grow off of the seed, and then eventually once the bowl is mature, it starts to dry out, and when it starts to dry out, well, it will pop open and you'll see all the cotton at that point. So the equipment that we've got out here today that you're going to see is we've got two cotton strippers that take in 6 rows apiece, and on the cotton stripper there's it's on the header of it. For each row, it's got just some brushes and rubber bats that spin, and they just basically take everything that's on the stalk off the stalk. And it conveys it up into the stripper with just some forced air. And these strippers, and most all of them do today, and in years past they didn't have that, but they've got a cleaner on board that will separate out the burrs and maybe a little other trash, but mostly the burrs. And the burr was kind of like the shell of the cotton. So when the cotton opens, the burr's kind of on the back. When the bowl was closed, it's the covering for it. We're going to build the cotton into modules, and they're big bread loaf shaped blocks of cotton. We tarp them then, but we've got a module builder. It's open on the bottom, so that it's just the ground underneath it, and you dump the cotton in there. It's got big metal sides, and then you got a tamper that moves back and forth and packs the cotton down. And so you'll fill it up and then pack it down to just a few feet, and you fill it up again. You just keep packing it, and so it ends up being a really tight, big brick of cotton. And the gin has some trucks that have they're called, they're live bottom trucks. So they've got kind of a conveyor chain on the floor of the truck. They can tilt the bed, start that chain, and it'll just suck the module right up into the truck as they back underneath it. And they'll take it down to the gin, drop it off down there while it waits to be ginned. So today we're here at the Avalon Co-op Gin in Avalon, Texas, which is a gin in Ellis County, right here in Ellis County. And we're just following the cotton from the field through the process at the gin. They weigh the modules on the truck as they come in, because you're charged for your ginning by how much everything that you bring them. The cotton, the seed, the trash, whatever's in there, you're going to pay to have it ginned. So the module truck that you see behind me here, it's going to just be used here on the yard. It'll take modules from the yard and put them in the module feeder. And so the module feeder, just takes that cotton that's packed together real tight and gets it back loose, puts it on a conveyor belt, and takes it into the main gin building. They add heat as it's coming into the gin to make sure it's dry enough to gin properly. And so it's going to come into the cotton gin. It's going to go into kind of a machine. They call it a steady flow. It kind of gauges the cotton into the gin so it doesn't overload anything. And then the cotton's going to go through. This gin has 3 gin stands, and that's really where the main processing of it occurs. So that's where it's going to separate out the seed from the lint, and the lint is the cotton that you'd see used in the making of the fabrics, jeans, t-shirts, socks, all those kind of things. And so the seed gets separated out there. It gets sent over to a holding bin because the seed's going to be used for other purposes, and the trash is going to find its way to another holding spot because it gets shipped out separately and used. And so then the cotton's going to go then through a series of lint cleaners because it just improves the quality of the cotton. Just get that lint as clean as possible so that it can make quality fabrics without having other foreign materials in there. From there, it's going to go into the press, and the press just packs it into a 480-pound or so bale of cotton. Right there, when it comes out of the press, there's a strapping machine that's going to put the straps on the bale. You can see it in the video. It's going to put the straps on there. They look kind of loose, and then when they take the pressure off of the bale just expands and makes the straps tight. And when it comes out of the strapping machine, it's going to go into another machine that bags it. It takes a sample off of each side to be graded, and then the bale's in the bag, and it gets put on a tag on it with a barcode, and then it's stacked up and ready to be shipped to a warehouse. Some of it goes to a warehouse in Dallas. Some of it goes to a warehouse in Taylor, Texas. Some of it goes to a warehouse that's down in Galveston. So a finished cotton bale, it weighs about 480 pounds of just lint cotton, and it'll make 760 men's dress shirts, or 290 pairs of men's jeans, maybe 900 women's blouses, 350 pair of women's jeans, 210 full-size sheets. And so you can make a lot out of one cotton bale. And of course the modules that we've seen, they've got anywhere between 11 and 15 bales in there. So one module could represent 3,000 pairs of jeans.